Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Lift and Shift podcast. I'm your host, Giselle Colonzo Douglas, and this is the place where we talk to talented, unparalleled, extraordinary women who are shifting higher in their various career spaces and spheres of influence. But the best thing about them is that they are lifting others as they climb. On today's episode, I'm very excited to be joined by Mrs. Monyetta Shaw-Carter, founder and CEO of the Evan Grace Group, which develops and manages prominent global brands in the entertainment, publishing, and fashion industries. But one of the reasons why I asked Monyetta to join me is because she's a multi-hyphenate talent. Her brand encompassing business ownership, acting, writing, momtrepreneurship, appearing on unscripted TV, fashion, health, music, and philanthropy. But the thing that sets her apart is that she leads with kindness. Monyetta lives by the mantras, it only takes 6 seconds to be kind, so be sure to take the time. Another one is kindness is free. And a third is a smile is the best accessory one can have. Wear it often and well. Though it can be difficult for anyone, much less someone in the public eye, Monyetta has maintained her values around leading with kindness. And so today we're just going to talk about her life, her career, her trajectory, talk about her intentionality in the way that she lives her life, her commitment to blended families and to co-parenting and doing it well. And I promise you that you'll walk away from this conversation better than you came in. I know some of you wanted to see about the drama from the Real Housewives of Atlanta, where she's a friend of the show for the last two seasons, seasons 14 and 15, but we're going to keep it classy. You see what I did there?
Yes.
But we'll see what we can get out of her, okay? Welcome to the Lift and Shift podcast, Monyetta.
Thank you for having me, friend.
Oh,
This is amazing. I want to congratulate you for all the amazing things that you do, Queen.
oh,
So thank you for having me.
appreciate it. So let's start here, Monyetta. Tell me about the younger version of you. You grew up in Shreveport, Louisiana. So tell me about
Yes.
young Monyetta. What were her dreams about?
Oh, wow. Yes. Young Monyetta grew up in Shreveport, Louisiana. Well, the country part, the outskirts, Greenwood, Louisiana, which is actually maybe like 4 miles from the Texas state line.
Mm,
Yes, honey. Country. But of course, I was born in Shreveport Hospital. Shreveport is literally like one exit away.
okay.
So yes, Shreveport. Honestly, I've always like loved like
Mm,
music and would make up musicals. My cousins would come in town and we would all like I would make up all blown out production, right? Uh, so I've always loved that, and I was a tomboy too.
okay.
So I would, play. I had older brothers,
Uh-huh.
and my cousins and everything were all like play rough with them, slap box everything. But I'm a girly
Mm.
girl, so my mom would always call me a country city girl. Actually, so funny. And now I get what she was saying, because they all love to fish and stuff like that. I went fishing a couple of times, but it really wasn't my
Not the
thing, honey.
thing.
But I do like being on the water, so I would go and watch and be like, okay, learn how to do it. But I was like, okay, no, something else. And I would like do little girly things, like make mud pies, like all that good fun country stuff or girly stuff. But yeah, I always knew that I wanted to go to the outskirts
Okay.
and see the world,
Okay.
really, if you may. And I knew it was a bigger world out there outside of where I was, and I was determined to go see.
Okay.
And
So you
yeah,
started
I did.
first in radio, right? You were like on
I
the
did.
number one radio station there. So tell me how you kind of segued into that.
It was so funny. I was actually on my way to meet my friend, Daddy Rowe.
Hmm.
What up, Rowe? He was on like one of the biggest DJs in the city, and I was just gonna go up there and talk, just play on the air
Hmm.
or whatever. Crazy because I used to like back when I was younger, the little old school radios. I would have it and really talk over the radio and introduce the song. So I was like, yeah. Me and my cousin used to do that all the time. But anyway, so I was going up there, but I didn't know it would turn into a job,
Mm.
a career, if you may. So I went up there and he announced me, gave me a name as I was driving, listening to the radio. He's like, Money Shaw is on. I was like,
Oh, you said Money
oh,
Shaw? I love it. Money Shaw in the building.
in the building. And yes, honey. So it just turned into that. And PD, rest in peace, Michael T. He actually offered me a
Mm,
position there. Right after that, I guess I did so well because all that practice that I
right,
did
right.
back in the day. And yeah, so I owe it to Daddy Ro and Michael T. They gave me my start in radio, and I fell in love with it. Actually, I always loved music.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I like to say I was like a baby program director. I would always pick the hits, and he would call me in the office and like ask me what I think and stuff, and I would get it right every single
Oh, so
time.
before the song like blew up, you would say this one is good.
Yeah, I'm
Oh,
like, yeah,
okay.
I've just always had an ear. Honestly, still got it too.
Okay.
Uh, yeah, so it was pretty awesome. I loved it. And of course, we used to go to like the live
Mm-hmm.
remotes, broadcasting live. It
Mm-hmm.
was just really, really nice and really fun times. I also sold ads on the radio too, because sometimes you would make more money that way. Even though I was in college, I was about my cash,
Okay. Listen.
So, yes.
Okay. So, but then at some point, the acting bug kind of bites you and you want to foray into
Yeah.
that. So tell me about that.
Absolutely. So, because of the tax incentives, like a lot of the Hollywood people came down to little old dirty South,
Okay.
the other South, to Shreveport, and a lot of huge movies were being made.
Mm.
I had an agent. I used to do little modeling. I was one of the top models for the newspaper. Listen, that was like the big deal back in the
Yeah,
day.
chlamydia.
So I
Yeah, I
still,
remember those, like those flyers and things.
yes,
Yes.
yes.
Okay.
I still have like the cutouts at my parents' house. I need to post those or show them
Yeah,
to
I
you.
was about to say, I
But
missed seeing that when I was there. I had to see that. You hit that.
right, that's in the back.
Okay.
Oh my gosh! So I still had those relationships because relationships are very important.
Yeah.
Um, and anyway, so I still had the agent, and she turned over to being a movie, casting people in movies or had a relationship with the casting agents. And so I started off as an extra, and then moved up to a featured extra, and then did stand in. Like I stood in for Sanaa Lathan, Nicole Ari Parker, and I still actually talk to a few of the people that I worked with.
Okay.
Still, yeah. And I started that way, and then, like I said, I got moved up to being a featured extra, got thrown a line, and when you're standing in, you have the sides sometimes, most of the time, and they're getting the lighting
Mm-hmm.
together.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
The real actor, I was, for the A team.
Right. Right.
Anyway, and so I think I was, going through the lines and with the director. Someone was like, yeah. So actually, and I'm gonna give him a shout out, Malcolm Lee.
Oh,
He did The
wow.
Best Man. Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
It was. I was on my first time being a featured extra was on being what is it? Welcome Home, Roscoe Jenkins with Martin
Yeah.
Lawrence with
Yeah.
everybody. Actually,
Yeah.
Cedric the Entertainer. Listen, it was such like, oh my gosh, it was like I loved going to work, loved
Hmm.
going to set. Um, Michael Epps, Mike Epps. Listen, I would literally cry every day.
Can imagine.
Yes. Yeah. So, and it's crazy because after that experience, like I say, I always treat people with kindness
Yeah.
and just,
Yeah. Yeah.
be who you
Yeah.
are. I was always my authentic self, regardless. I made friends. Me and Martin became really cool.
Mm.
Recipe Sean, which is his right hand man. I just read that he just passed, and Sean's
Oh,
amazing.
wow.
Um, it came up the audition for Soul Men, which is my first huge
Yeah.
film. Even though I got my lines got edited out or whatever, but that was Bernie Mac's last film. And rest in peace, Bernie Mac. It was an amazing experience, but I actually got to audition in front of Malcolm Lee. And oh my gosh, I love Malcolm, by the way. And I auditioned for, what is his name? He passed. Rest in peace. Was it Tim Duncan?
The
Big
Green
guy. He played
Mile.
in Green Mile. He
Oh,
played in Green Mile.
good.
Not Tim
Yeah,
Duncan.
I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, I
We'll
love him.
remember it way after the
So
fact.
sorry. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I auditioned for his wife,
Mm-hmm.
and she was, heavier set. Love her. She's an amazing actress. I forget her name as well. And seeing, sometimes they want you to audition for parts just to see. Like literally, I got my first call
Yeah.
back. When I say I killed it, I killed it. But seeing who got the part, I was like, okay, I could have never,
Got it.
did
I
it,
did. Okay.
But still, it was just getting my feet out there, it was amazing. And that was from Roscoe Jenkins rather, but he remembered me and I made such an impact, and he casted me as Odetta. I was the character that Bernie Mac and the Samuel L. Jackson
Okay.
argued over the film and Soul Man. So it was Affion was on there, and me and Affion, we had a mutual friend, and we were friends before
Okay.
that. But just to connect and work on a film together was awesome. But yeah, so it was amazing. It was really amazing. So that was my first official start, and it went to my first Hollywood premiere. All that, like a year later, I think it was 2018 when the premiere, when the movie came out, and the big premiere in New York. It was in New York, but yeah, yeah. It
Wow.
was,
Well, like I said, you're multi-hyphenate, so your hand has been in a few things to kind of stretch yourself and grow for sure. So I know that at some point you did own a boutique, so you went into the
yeah.
fashion space. How did that come about? What was that interest in ownership of the business and then in fashion?
Yes, for sure. Well, I actually started, well, this is years
Mm-hmm,
later, from Atlanta with my ex-fiance, my children's
mm-hmm,
father, Schaefer Smith, aka Neo. And we were together and we traveled so much, and I got pregnant. And I always, well, let me take it back some
mm-hmm.
real quick. Some of those newspaper clippings.
Yes,
I got interviewed.
that I must see at some point.
Let's talk. Let's really talk. You about to get the good stuff, girl. I got interviewed in high school, my senior year. And they're like, what do you see yourself? And I was like, oh, and own a boutique and have my own fashion line,
Mm,
and I would call it Shanti, which is my middle name.
okay.
It's in Hindu.
I'm learning a few things about you, ma'am.
I know, whatever. So I've always had that in me
Mm,
that I wanted to love fashion. I always dress how I feel. Sometimes
mm,
sometimes I feel like I'm in the carpool line even when I'm not. Let's be clear. I like to be comfortable sometimes, and I like to, get real cute sometimes. But anyway, so it was in boutique. The boutique was in Buckhead,
mm-hmm,
which is everyone knows Buckhead in Atlanta. Was amazing. I moved my best friend here, Daryl.
yeah.
Daryl. Everybody loved it. This crazy stuff, and my cousin Tamika here to help run it because I was pregnant with
Mm,
Maddie. So, and when I traveled the world with him before I got pregnant, and some while I was pregnant, but it was time to sit down,
mm,
child. And so that's when we were developing that. And before the boutique, I did my business plan, and I was like, you know what? I want to do more than just that. And I wanted to just create a legacy for my daughter.
mm-hmm,
I knew she before Mason, but a legacy for my kids, something that they can be proud of mommy
mm,
as, and something I could leave with them. And so I was like, children's books. So I came up with The Adventures of Maddie. But before that, the whole concept of the Evan Grace Group. I knew I wanted to do publishing, fashion, and I've just been in love with the entertainment
mm,
business for so long. So many connections, and I always connect people. You know
yeah.
this. So it's just like a gift of mine. And I'm like, listen, it's enough out here for everybody.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
So, connecting. I'm like, people do get paid for this,
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah.
even though so many times I didn't, it's just like I'm just, I'm a giver too. But I'm like, okay, let's be smart here. So yeah, so that's how the Evan Grace Group came into effect in 2012, 2013.
Okay.
Yes, so
So tell me a couple of
yeah.
things, because you said some things that kind of have resonated with me. First off,
Mhm.
you trying in these different areas, I think speaks to you being a risk taker in some way. So are you
Yeah.
just not afraid to try things even if they could potentially fail? Like, what are your thoughts around that? Trying new things.
I think that trying new things and stretching
Yeah.
yourself it's a plus. I always say, and I still say this to this day, if your dreams doesn't scare you
Mm,
a little bit, it's not big enough. You need to reach higher, because everybody, of course, like, who's afraid of being in their comfort
right.
zone, and so I'm like, let's try this, maybe okay, that didn't work, because there's been a few things I didn't talk about on here that I tried that didn't work. It's not for me. Okay. It's not my ministry, and that's okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And even things that we'll talk about that later, maybe. And I think you know about that part, but also the name Money Shaw. Um, some of my relationships, they're like, "Hey, we're looking for a rapper," and I used to rap a lot.
Yes.
brother, rest in peace,
Yes,
Michael.
yeah.
Yeah, he used to write rhymes for me, and they're like, "Yo, you got it." So yeah, so girl, the name, the radio name, Money Shaw just went over as in the
Yes,
resume.
yes. See, a woman of many talents.
I'm telling you, just so multifaceted,
Yeah,
so multifaceted.
I love it. I love it.
But yes,
So
yes,
now,
that was a scary road for me. But yeah, I didn't stick with that.
uh-huh.
And hey, who knows?
Listen, there's a lot of time ahead of you to go back to it. But you are in business mogul mode, as you mentioned, the Evan Grace Group. Tell me first about the name and then what the business is about.
Yes. So the name is the Evan Grace Group, and it's the middle names of my two amazing, talented
With,
children. It's Madeline Grace and Mason Evan. So that's how I came up with the name. And I kind of spoke on it as far as me being an author,
hmm
and I self published. I have had meetings to do it the huge way, and even though I'm not opposed to it at a later date, just right now and then, this is what worked for me, and eventually getting other people under my belt as well, helping them because there's so many people that have like gifts and like the spirit, like so many books in them,
hmm
and I want to be able to help that come to fruition. And of course, the boutiques, so the fashion world, and I have friends that are models, and like
hmm
a connector. So I'm like, okay, well, that can be one of the umbrellas of it, as well as the entertainment, of course. Like I said,
hmm
actually used to manage and still do have some artists that I manage that are up and coming.
Okay.
I've connected dots to artists that are out there now, but as far as me managing, but it just takes so much
Yeah.
time, and have to develop the correct and perfect team. So yes, so that's where the Evan Grace Group came from, and it's a labor of love, just as is everything that I do.
Okay, awesome. You are definitely a published author. You have 4 books under your belt: Bigger Than Me, The Adventures of Maddie, The
Mhm.
Chronicles of Nice Guy Meso, and he is that, and Keep It Classy, Co-Parenting Strategies for Unstoppable Moms and Dads, as well as the new planner that you recently launched called the Co-Parenting Planner. So how do
Yeah,
you shift into, yeah.
I was just
Love
writing,
it.
girl.
So one of the things I noticed though is that another area, I guess, where you're not afraid is to use your life. Your children inspired you. Your own life inspired you. You being a co-parent inspired your writing. This is what you put to paper. Again, not a fear to kind of put yourself out there in that way.
Girl, not a fear in the children's
Yeah.
books, I will say, because especially back then when Maddie's book came out, you didn't see the representation
Mm,
of people that look like
yeah.
us, in books and on the counters and everything. So it just hit me really hard, like hello. And then her hair. That's why it was very important to put Maddie's natural hair on the cover and out the book so she could learn self love
Mm-hmm.
and like you're beautiful. So that was no question. And because representation matters
For sure.
through and through, and it's important for us to see and them to see people that look like we
Yeah.
do. So that sense. However, when I dove into the self-help books, it was like, oh Lord, okay, I had to pray a few nights, talk to my daddy, who is my, oh my gosh, my help me, my everything. He would keep it 100 at all times, even when I went through by difficult times, and when I do still go through difficult times, he's my go-to. So is my mother, who recently
Yes,
passed, as
I
you
know.
know. I just want to
Just
just
look at
say
me.
to
Shout
you
out.
for me,
Prayers,
thank you.
blessings.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Because this friend right here, you showed up, you came
Oh,
to my brother's funeral and Shreve, like who, yeah, so many people didn't even know, like Shreveport, where is that? Yeah, it's right there on the map. A little regional airport. No, I appreciate you so much. You didn't have to do that, and you did, and you always show up for me, and I appreciate you so much. That's why, like, I got you for life, girl. I appreciate you, and
appreciate
I love
you.
you. But anyway,
Yeah.
okay. Thank you. Um, so yeah, so my mom and my dad, like, huge. My foundation is very important, and the reason why I am who I am. I know a lot of people say that, but no, it's real. You can see that in my walk, and it's really authentically who
Yeah.
I am. Not perfect by all means, but I feel like a big part of that is because in the back of my head, I'm like, oh, do I want to show out and embarrass them like that?
Yeah.
And then now
Yeah.
it's, them with my dad now, but my mom looking down and my kids. So it's just like, because you are this huge example, um, and yeah, they're going to see that, they're going to think it's acceptable. So 100%. So that's why I had to really go into prayer
Mm-hmm.
and, some of the things if to write this book. I knew that it was very important to be true to myself and not be a cookie
Mm.
cutter. I didn't do everything right, so it was important that I reveal some of those things. And before I reveal it to the world, I need to reveal it to my parents and my daddy. So I was like, oh, okay, Dad, let's talk,
Yikes.
So, girl, it was so hard. Oh my gosh. And he was like, well, hold on. What, like, what happened? All right, Deke, come on, take a
Woo.
shot. I'm not perfect, but it was important for me. And so to be the example so that, some girls don't have to go through the same
Yeah.
thing. They could learn through my mistakes or, what I've done and just see that, and then I'm not perfect either. Like we all go through things. And a lot of times we go through things and we think we're the only
Yeah.
ones. And that's not
Yes,
the
Lord.
truth. So it's very important for me to, girl, listen, to tell that and just be, like I said, very transparent about those things. And, know that even though at the time I wrote the book, I'm built on faith and prayers and because I hadn't reached the other side
Yeah.
yet, but I knew through my faith in God and my beliefs and everything that it was better on the other
Mm.
side. So I just work on me,
Yeah.
the best example for my children and for other women, quite honestly, and
Yeah.
men, men go through these things too. And honestly, that was important to me, like for my trials, to be a lesson,
Mm.
not to the world, since I was going through this in front of the entire world, which was very, very hard, not easy, but hey, that was the way,
Yeah,
it's supposed to
no,
be.
that book, I bought like 4 copies and I've given them
Mhm.
away because I know a lot of women who are part of blended families and who are trying to figure out the whole co-parenting thing. And it's just been easier to think, and I'm part of one too, but thankfully I really haven't had many issues. So I've been like, here's this book. Because I was looking for my
Yes.
copy the other day and I was like, what? I was like, I remembered who I gave it to last. So and you are very transparent, but one of the things is you are very clear about the kids being the priority.
Oh, absolutely, from day one, because I knew that they did not choose to be in our mess. They didn't choose to be here. So it's our duty as responsible adults, regardless of whatever our feelings are about the other parent, the other person. Um, got to do what's right. We got to lead with love.
Yeah,
And, they are the common denominator, 100%. So you swallow your ego,
yeah, yeah,
figure that out. And let's move together with love. And sometimes I get it, it's hard, you're not gonna be able to move with love, but just know that like they're watching, they're witnessing this, and they're going to mimic everything. They're going to think it's okay for this behavior, and it's just going to be, like, trust me, you want to get it right. You want to get it right. You want your children to be successful, to be healthy, happy children, to thrive. And, it's worth it in the end, honestly.
because I can be petty, so I just want to know how you
Oh,
rise
girl,
above it. I'll be with the subliminals in my book, or
girl, baby,
better than me, clearly.
you better stop. I mean, well, I will say this. I'll say again, I'm not
Yeah.
perfect. A couple of times I said something, but you got to know that that's probably what I know it's what the world wants, probably what the other person wants.
Mm.
Honestly, so you gotta rise above, even when you don't want to. So a couple of times I was like, I can't take this no more, and it was all over the web, right?
Yeah.
So I'm just like, okay, I can't do that again because it's not what I want. And so I pat myself on the back
Yeah.
because I did good. What I do is, and I'm sorry, it's not good for the bloggers. I just handle that thing in
Okay.
house. We had a group text, and we would, all right, look, let's meet up when y'all free. We got to have a sit down,
Mm.
because it can't happen or this, da, 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 like let's figure this out because we need to. Because if not, it's gonna be crazy. We're gonna be meeting up at the Waffle House or anywhere. Is that what you want?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
trust me, it's not good
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
trying. you know, and, you know, in the beginning, you know, she was good about, oh, I'm not here to take your place, you know, and that's good too. So we really, it seemed like we were, you know, all on the same accord. But, you know, like you said, you know, the sub, I don't do subs well and other stuff, but hey, you know, then I would say something to him. He'd be like, oh, it ain't about you. I'm like, oh, okay. Clearly I know it is, but it's all good, you know. So we work it out. I just handle it in house,
Got you.
you know, for the most part.
Well, I do have more specific questions about this co-parenting and blended family piece, right? Because as you noted, you were engaged to singer songwriter Neo. You guys have Maddie and Mason, two of my favorite people in the world. They're such good kids. And then you're married now to Heath,
Yes,
the
I
bro. And so you have this blended family, and I know that your focus for sure is the kids. But I want to know this. Um, having you're still through it, but you've learned a lot. What would you
am.
say is a mistake that you made through the
Ooh,
co-parenting process?
ooh, that's a great question. Mistake. Hmm. I will say in the beginning, prior to Heath, prior to me, because I dated a couple of people before my
Hmm.
husband, prior to them, when I was deep in the hurt, deep in the pain of it, um, mind you, I don't know, well, I wrote about it in the book. Their father and I were still cohabitating for a year. You know, it worked for us because he was on the road
Hmm.
more than he was at home. You know, but it did kind of mess with my head a little.
Mm.
You know, I don't do nothing. Of course, he's gonna want me. He can go out here, do whatever, leave these little thoughts, these little whatever, and he gonna see home. And then I have this beautiful kids. Like, who wouldn't come back home? You know. So, girl, was I wrong?
Oh.
Anyway, so whatever. So when that date came, and you know, he started dating, da 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 da. He told me, and I'm like, wait, what? You know, because we honestly, it was so. This was before the co-parenting, but even this is a lesson,
Yeah.
ladies. So I hope you're listening. When you know it's over,
Mm.
you know whatever works for your family works for
Yeah.
your family. You know, I will say
Yeah.
that. So I honestly wouldn't take back us even cohabitating
Hmm.
together because it did. It was just in my head.
Mm.
I needed to face reality.
Mm.
We would still go to the movies. We would still go out to eat. We would still say, you know. So in my head, you know, I really had this total wrong reality. You know, when he was because he was telling me like he told me I don't want monogamy right now. You know. So anyway, so let's say they came and he's like, oh, I met someone serious. Da, da, da. I'm like, wait, what? But you don't want monogamy. And so you want to with somebody you just met. But sometimes it's easier than to work on yourself
Mm.
and fix what's broken. So I've hurt this person so many times to just start afresh and start anew. So that was a hard lesson for me, but I understood it. It wasn't right, but maybe it was right for him. Who knows? You know. But obviously, like my dad told me back then, he's not who God has for
Mm.
you. The sooner you get that,
Mm.
the better off you be. You know, take this lesson, learn from it, put back into you and those kids. And that's exactly what I did. You know, through the hurt, through the
Right. Right.
tears,
Yeah.
but I did that. You know, and that was the best advice ever. Um, but so when he started dating, and then the kids, so we had this you know rule or whatever. So we're like, okay, we start dating. You're not gonna introduce the kids to you know the other person for 6 months, right?
Uh-huh.
Okay, cool. Ciao, bye. Anyway, so one day Mason came home and he was so
It's always
happy.
telling.
But always, that's my boy. And Maddie was like,
Mm.
no, but you know, they were so young and so they
Yeah.
didn't
Yeah.
like, you know, because you know, just that we talk a lot, so we do. We're like, oh, okay, cool, did you have fun? Yeah, I had a great time. We met Crystal. I said, you know. So of course, it's my kids, and you know, you listen. Like even when I had my painful moments, I would make sure the kids are
Mm.
down, and then I'll go, you know, to let it all out, you
Wow.
know. Even though it's important for them to see, excuse me, to see you, you know, feel what
Your
you feel.
humanity. Yeah.
Exactly, you know. But I felt like I didn't want, and this is the story I'm about to tell you is gonna, you know, is gonna come all
Yeah.
together. So when he said that, my face, you know, I didn't say don't, I didn't say anything. I just began to cry And children feel, your kids feel your energy, they feel everything. And then even though I was stopping it and I was like, oh, mom will be right back, da, da, da. I think I had a sitter at the time, a nanny at the time. So I was like, okay, yeah, mama be right back, but still tear. And I think one came out, went. So the next time they went, of course, she was there again. Baby, I got a phone call as soon as they came back home. Mason or Maddie or both of them was like, I guess she went to hug them. We can't hug Crystal. Yes. I was like, oh, because that's not what I'm about. Like, I wouldn't dare. That's why a very important rule is never talk down about the other parent or the other parent's partner in front of the kids. Like, yeah, sometimes you might want to vent. Don't vent in front of them ever.
So where did you get this
And
from? Just from seeing your emotional reaction?
that's it.
Wow.
And I was like, wow, because we're so
Yeah.
connected. Like, more so,
Ooh.
I found out with the transition of my
Yeah.
mother. Like, whole week, like, I felt her passing. Like, I felt when she made her
Ooh.
decision. Like, literally, I didn't know what it was
Yeah.
because my dad, the
Yeah.
story. He told me the next day because I had a
Mhm.
big event.
Mhm.
He knew immediately, but he's like, nothing you can do, and she would want you to continue on. Literally, so I get it now even more.
Wow.
Like, wow. And he was like, "Oh no, we can't. We can't hug her. Like, I don't know, somehow I don't know what's going on, but something ain't right in this tea." Like,
No.
mama was affected in it.
Yeah.
Mom, we mama, you
Yeah.
know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like mama got us. So whatever the case may be, she didn't verbalize it. She didn't have to say nothing. And it's like they're 3 and 4 maybe at this time.
Mhm.
Like,
Mhm.
what? So immediately I'm like, y'all, listen, I know what it looks like. Trust me, I would have thought the same thing. I would never.
Oh, so you did
And
have a
so I guess,
conversation about that?
oh, we had to.
Oh,
We had
okay.
to. Because I was like, yo, I would, no. I was like, no, I definitely would not tell them that.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm telling Schaefer, Neil, I'm like, you know that. You know me.
Mhm.
But I get it. I am going through. But even regardless, yes, I'm feeling it because you weren't supposed to,
Mhm. Mhm.
crazy. But it is what it is. And now it's happened. I can't be like, well, don't you have her around. Like, come on. I still wasn't ready. We still had boundaries. Like, I wasn't ready for us to, because every year we would do a joint birthday
Yeah.
party. So I'm like, sorry, until I get through this. Like, I thought I was cool because I would go around them, but it was still there, and I was like, I can't fake it.
Wow.
So the birthday party, I'm not gonna be able to, like, give me that, and please respect it. I'm sure it was some words, but ultimately they respected it, and I appreciate that. But when I got to the point, I'm like, listen, it is what it is. They're gonna be together. Like, we gotta be this, one big happy family. I'm not gonna fight it. I'm not gonna definitely keep the kids from him. Oh, if she gonna be here, they can't be here. But he doesn't get to see them a lot because he's on the
Yeah.
road. So
Right.
that's gonna hurt them so much more than me trying to get a point across or something. So let it be what it is. And I just went extra hard on letting them know, like, okay, well, this is Crystal, da, 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 it's fine.
Yeah.
I let them know, like, yeah, she's nice. You guys like her, right? I had to make sure they did.
Mhm.
And they did. And so I was like, okay, it's perfect. Okay. And with them seeing me interact with
Mhm.
her, because of course the energy they
Mhm.
felt from
Mhm.
it solidified it, and they were like, okay, she's good. And yes, so that was a mistake. So regardless of if it's words, verbalized, or your energy,
Yeah.
like, make sure you're good because they feel it. They feel your energy, they feel everything. So that was one thing that I didn't even, it was unbeknownst to me. Like, I didn't know I was doing it, but that was definitely a mistake because that could have went
Yeah.
left if I
Yeah.
didn't step in and fix it. Or I could have been, like, it could have went down, and it would have been no Keep It Classy book. It would have been a different kind of
Different
book.
title altogether. You seem to
Exactly.
be very self-aware. I'm not ready. I'm still having issues. My reactions, like
Exactly.
how you navigating the emotional part of you? Like, were you putting it on, or were you actually just going through it?
Honestly, I would say both because
Mm,
honestly, sometimes in life you put on these masks.
yeah.
It's not necessarily a good thing, but sometimes I feel like, in my opinion, it's necessary. Um, but it's also necessary to take the mask
You're
off
right.
and feel how you feel. So I did both, and I honestly wholeheartedly had to do the work. I had to do the work, but it was times when I was going through it, I wasn't there yet. And honestly, I didn't want to be around them. I didn't want to be around him, them meaning
The couple.
the new
Yeah.
couple together, not the kids.
Yeah.
To be clear, I didn't want to be around them. I didn't want to, and it could have been easier for me. I could have had someone drop them off for me, or, but it was important for my children to see that it's okay and it's healthy, because they will grow up thinking like, oh, if it don't work
Yeah.
out, I'm not gonna see, no. And it was so hard for me because my parents, like I said, February they would have been together 50 years.
Wow.
Like that's all I know.
Yeah.
So I was like, huh? Like what you mean? Which, I have friends, people who, come from single households and they turned out amazing, but that just wasn't my story. And, once I came to terms with that, with help from my father and mom, I was like, okay, I got this.
Your expectation was this is going to be that long-term, forever
Oh,
relationship.
girl,
Yeah.
yes. That's why I did certain things that I
Yeah.
did. Because if you would have told me, hindsight, girl, bye, what you doing? Because to make sure that's what you wanted. But yeah, it's if somebody would have told me, I would have been like, you're fibbing. Exactly.
You alive.
Thank you. A whole one.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, I absolutely did think that.
So tell me, what is something about yourself that you feel like you've
Mm.
had to adjust to be a better co-parent?
Something about myself that it needs to adjust.
It would be
Honestly,
my petty. So
that's crazy. I got petty in me, but it take a lot because I'm always, like I don't know, like, oh, child, girl, you're wrong for that, So I would check
yeah.
myself. Something that I adjusted as a co-parent, like everybody who really knows me, they knows like they say things like, "Girl, you too nice," or "Girl, you too," but it's really who I'm not putting
Yeah.
on. It's like how I was
Yeah.
raised. I was like, if
I
I see
said
somebody
it.
in the
So
corner,
yeah.
yeah, if I see somebody in the corner, nobody's talking to them, I'll be like, hey, how, I want them to feel included. Like, it's really who I
Right.
am. So
Right.
I'm just like, but like, even sometimes I didn't want to like her, but
Mm.
I'm like, oh, she seemed nice.
Yeah.
And Daryl, like, oh, she putting on, she a Virgo like me. It's fake. Don't trust it. Just,
Daryl just got put on blast. But he's so real with it. So
like, he's a realist.
yeah.
I love it. You gotta have you on by your side.
Yeah. Okay.
And then I'm like, my other side, like, because I am a Gemini. There's a few sides in me, but I just keep them on the
Okay.
Anyway, they come out when they have to. You might see some on this season coming up. But anyway, so I'm just saying. I'm just saying. I am human. Everybody got triggers.
Yeah.
And I'm going through a lot right now. Look. But seriously, I would say something I have to. Okay, here's something. But I caught the lesson quick.
Mm.
It speaks to basically what I just said, my kindness that's really, in me and who I am.
Yeah.
Because, I had to deal with, their dad's significant other, his wife at the time. And with me marrying Heath, my husband, he
Mm-hmm.
also has um, beautiful, beautiful daughters, my babies. Well, one's grown, BG. And so she was already, like, when we met, she was maybe 18, 19. So I didn't have to, like, meet her mom. I still haven't. I would love to. I was thinking about calling the other day. But anyway, Gianna's mom. So, they were dealing with, and it was a time, and I know we have a great relationship now.
Mm-hmm.
So, tell too much, I'm going to discuss with her first, but this is real. She was going through her thing, and it wasn't quite like mine. Like it was like, it was drama, like a lot of drama with him. And I'm like, okay, like this is, I ain't signed up for this, you know what I'm saying? Even though he came into my life, and I'm like, okay, well, I have my little co-parenting issues, bows on top. Like, it's all good. You don't have to deal with it, a lot, him and their dad actually have a great relationship. They hang out together all
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
time.
I've seen it on social. Yeah.
Right. They're out with the kids all the time. I love it. So it was a lot, and I had to have a conversation with her in the beginning to kind of help it. And so I wasn't gonna. I guess it was just like, what do I do?
Mm-hmm.
And she had it very well because I knew what not to do from
Your own
you know,
experience.
the blueprint
Yeah.
that his wife gave to
Yeah.
me. Because like certain things about, she would put them on the internet more than he would, and knowing that was like a required, like one of our lists, like 6 months and don't post unless, you know, and it was to a point like, well, it's gonna be a time, well, you can't say nothing if she posts. And so that's when I was like, oh, he about to marry her. Cause that's the only way I can have no control. Like if that's a stepmama, all bets are off. I can't say nothing. I gotta respect it. And so that's what a lot of people saw, and you saw
Okay.
it. Like, you better make, no, I gotta respect this lady. This is who he chose, and he gonna be around. So it is what it is. So I'm doing everything to make this as smooth as possible within my
Mm-hmm,
you know,
mm-hmm,
my control.
mm-hmm,
You know,
mm-hmm.
it is what it is, you know. You're gonna respect me though. You know, it's all good, but you know, we're gonna respect each other. But anyway, so I kind of felt that, and I had a talk with her. I was like, girl, first of all, and then we took, because I knew she wasn't over him,
Okay.
you know, and I knew how, what it felt like when I wasn't
Yeah.
over
Yeah.
their dad.
Yeah.
Because of my kindness, and my husband's kind
Yeah.
too, and he's just like, thank you, Mo. Like, oh my God. Um, I didn't meet Gianna. I spoke to her on the phone or whatever, not even FaceTime. Because of course little kids would do like
Yeah.
Mason did. Oh my God, so and so today, you know, and I know what that felt like.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm like, you know, I was sparing her, like, even though I, you know, just trying everything in my being, because
Wow.
it didn't feel good at all. So I didn't meet her until 2 years later, honestly.
Wow.
Crazy, but I just was like, if this is what we're gonna do,
Mm-hmm.
you're my man. Why not? We have a lifetime, you know. I love her. I would send her things or whatever, you know. I don't know if he said it's for me or from him. I didn't
Yeah.
care, but I just, you know, still show love in a way. Um, but yes, I feel like honestly, it was me trying to figure out how I was going to maneuver that. That was big for me. So, um, yes, I guess my mistake would have been. I know I'm going all
No, no,
around
you're
answering this
good.
question. In the beginning, I feel like because of who I am and my foundation, I should have been the one to come at their dad's um, ex-wife now
Yeah.
first, but it was her, and I was like, okay, that's good, because what I was thinking was like, she don't care that, but she did come to me woman to woman. I was like, girl, you better than that, you should have, but I was still wrapped up in my feelings. So, and I think that's why, learning that lesson, I was able to see what was going on in my husband's situation and step
Okay.
in, you know, but not
Yeah.
overstep, you know,
Yeah.
just make her feel comfortable, send her a book, and she was receptive to it, you
Okay.
know. It's the way you do it, because I could have sent her a book, she was like, bitch, I don't want this book, you know, forget you, F you, F, you know. But I just,
Yeah.
and I just
No, you
explained
showed
things where,
empathy
like,
for sure.
yeah, exactly, you know, and you have to give others grace.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
gave her so much grace when I felt like grace should have been given to me when
Mm.
it wasn't, you know. And that's exactly what I did.
So,
So,
you talked about like a list that you guys had, what like the boundaries and the ground rules. So, if someone, a couple, were breaking up and had to figure out this co-parenting thing, what is some advice
mm,
that you can give? Some things that worked for you guys and that have brought you to where you are now.
wow. Stick to the list. No, but anyway, seriously.
Well, create the list and stick to the list. Yeah,
I like
that
that.
part.
It's there for a reason. No, but seriously, just number one, I would say, and I have this in my book, of course, not in this order, I'm
Yeah.
sure, but
Yeah.
communicate. Like, people say it a lot, but it's huge, and it could be the most minute
Mm.
thing. You have to communicate. Whereas if you're going to be able to pick up the kids that day on your day and you can't, like, don't forget or don't wait till last minute, because mama got a life too, or dad got a life
Mhm,
too.
mhm,
Don't
mhm.
negate that. Like, just communicate. It could be simple as a text or it's a quick phone call. Hey, real quick, da da da. In the beginning, we struggled with that a
Yeah.
lot, but that can fix so many things, fix so many problems if you just simply communicate. Just say what you mean what you say, or just try, because sometimes the other person can be petty Betty or petty Ben, you know, whatever, uh petty Pat, um and say, well, no, I can't do
Yeah.
it, figure it out,
Yeah.
showtime, you know, but just at least try. You know, you can't, you know, beat yourself up for trying. Like, you're doing your part,
Mhm.
you're trying everything in your power. Continue to do that. Lead with love, give them grace, and give yourself grace, because it gets so hard, especially if someone isn't showing up like they're supposed to show up. And that's one thing. I mean, like, I don't play about my kids. You're not gonna tell my kids you're gonna be here. You
Mm,
ain't here because then I
mm,
gotta deal with that.
mm.
Then we got a
Yeah.
problem. We got, you know. So that's, I would say, communication. So once we got that right, it was like, okay, this is, this is going good. Um, so that, and just honestly, no bad talk in front of the children is huge.
Okay.
It's really huge. It destroys a lot of families. It destroys the feelings
Mm,
one might have about the other person. They might want to like them, but they're pulling back because how, their mom or their dad is going to feel. And like I said, they didn't choose to be here. They didn't choose to be in a
yeah.
situation, you know. Why are we doing this to them? Like, once we take a step back and realize, like, yeah, we're caught up in our feelings and our egos, but it's not doing anything but hurting them. Our big grown tails can't get it together enough to successfully care for them and raise them in the manner that they should be raised in. It's unacceptable.
Okay.
And I just realized that instantly, and I'm like, yeah, it hurts bad sometimes, but I gotta do this. I gotta do this for them and for me. And that's what I did. So those are two huge things. I'm not saying you need to be friends. We're friends now, but there was a time we weren't, even though we were meeting up. It was just
Yeah.
friendly, but we weren't
Cordial.
friends.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And of course, like, people say, girl, you make it look good. Yeah, I did, because it's possible.
Yeah.
It is. It doesn't have to be beef. Don't have to be everybody drag. I know you see that, and it's popular in the celebrity
Mm-hmm.
realm, tearing each other down and all this other stuff. It doesn't have to be that at all. It's a choice. It's a choice that you make, and you have to make a decision. Are you gonna be, you know, the examples that your kids are gonna thrive
Mm,
from? Are they gonna grow up thinking it's okay to just weep and cry forever and forget him, and or realize that things happen sometimes, and maybe that person wasn't meant for mom or dad? Brush yourself up,
yeah.
try again, love, show grace, and move on.
Wow.
You know.
So tell me about this co-planner. How did that come about and what's the purpose of it?
Yes. So I'm old school. Of course, we have our calendars on our
Yeah.
phone and everything, but I like to, like, I journal a
Yeah.
lot, and I like to see things on
Mm-hmm. Me
paper. I feel like
too.
I'm that
Yeah.
way.
Yeah.
And sometimes, even though I do have a digital copy, and I'm working on how to sync those
Mm-hmm.
things too. Sometimes we get our days crossed and stuff like that. But yes, so the co-pans and planners, I just created because I love planners in
Mm,
general. Planner person, journal person. So basically, it's just to organize your day to days and responsibilities. I even have, like, the end of the month, um, like, takeaways. We have, like, the how to use your
mm.
planners. Like, it just breaks it down. It's really an old school planner, and it has a place for lawyer notes, and it could be a tool if you do have to go to mediation of court. That's not the goal.
Right.
You can
But
remind
it doesn't
you
hurt.
you supposed to have them how many days in a month? I had them all month.
Wow. Okay.
They just be like, here you go, lawyer. And actually, since the book has been out, a few people said it helped them tremendously in their court. Yeah, I was like, oh,
Okay.
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 But yeah, so it helps me a lot, and it breaks down, like, goals, even like your grocery list, even the budget. Like, I'm big on budgeting, like the personal monthly budget.
Mhm.
You have an area, a space for that there. To-do list, like I said, like, and it has a breakdown, so it not only just has the full month, where you see the money, you just write the month, and you can get this at any time. A lot of journals, it
Yeah.
has, like, you got to start right at the beginning of the year, and then, but I was like, you know what, I get frustrated when I want a good planner, and I go in the store, and it's
It's
January,
May.
and I see,
Yeah.
I'm a late bloomer this year. I'm gonna get it right one
Right.
day.
Right.
Anyway, so I'm like, voila.
Mm.
Whatever month, you can start whenever you want to. So that's huge for me. And not only, does it have those dates, you get to break down the scheduling, and that's huge because, of course, our kids are involved in so many
Hmm.
activities. To break it down with the time,
I'm a
the month, the
chauffeur
day.
as another job. So.
Girl, listen, baby, look. chauffeur for
Yeah.
real.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then the end of month reflection.
Okay.
That's huge because so many times we, might not have the best days or even months, and you just reflect on what is it that I could have done
Mm.
better. And as a co-parent, as a person, as a human being, what is it?
Mm.
Maybe I shouldn't have said that little petty, sent that little petty text after he said what he said. Like, all right, let me put that down, reflect on it, and figure out how I could have done it better. And next time you go into the next month, you read over and like, okay. So when you're triggered next time, you just look at it and do better.
Wow.
Okay, that's the takeaway. Do
Yeah.
better.
I love it, love it, love it, love it. I love it. So you are going through this co-parenting thing. You're in the celebrity space. You're in the social media era. So a lot of, though you're private with a lot of things, but you're also very open with things. You have been on unscripted TVs, Atlanta Exes, and now you're a friend to the show of Real Housewives of Atlanta. How do you navigate putting yourself out there like that?
It's a bit nerve wracking at
Mm.
times, but you have to. Well, the way I look at it at is, I'm helping someone.
Okay.
I'm helping someone out there is going through the exact same thing that I am. And I really didn't know that until the feedback from Atlanta
Mm.
Exes when I say, and that actually encouraged me to write bigger than me.
Mm-hmm.
Because so many people reached out, like, because of you, I let my children's father back into the kids'
Mm.
lives. And so I remember it was like, I still talk to her. It was 6 years, 6. And I'm like,
Wait, that
oh
she
my
hadn't
God.
had a relationship.
Yes.
Wow.
Because she was still caught up. And then I think he got
Yeah. Oh,
remarried and
wow.
whatever. Yeah. And now she's like, I just feel so free. Like, thank you. Like, because you were, just vulnerable and put it all out there. Like, thank you so much. Just watching it
Yeah.
take, because honestly, the world watched as it happened, like, everything, from, yeah, from us deciding that we both didn't want
Yeah.
kids to him having a slew, so, and it's just like, and it's, I'm just like, thank God for growth and like just purpose and timing, some things that you thought you wanted, it was like you thought God was being mean or something. He was really
Mm.
blocking,
Yeah.
and it wasn't for you. That's just all I can say. Because he and I laughed about it the other day. I was like, what?
Yeah.
He was like, you know what?
That's such a great place to be where you can laugh about, such a painful time.
Yes, who would have known?
Yeah.
Who would have known? But then the seriousness to it is that I did choose, because even though we both collected
Yeah.
together, said, what we didn't want, I made that
Yeah.
choice because, like I said, to my parents, like, if you would have told me, I would have been like, whatever. Even if we would, people, because of course, I see some of the stuff and the other stuff, like, oh, she wasn't even married. Yes, I was engaged, but still wasn't married. And hey, people get divorced every day, B, what
Yeah.
they say. So still, I would have waited till I was in. Then same thing probably would have happened. And then what? It was just like, so I made sure it was. But now, in
Yeah.
hindsight, like I said on the show on Atlanta Exes, it wasn't smart. So that was a big regret of mine. But honestly, I feel like it was part of my story, and so I was supposed to be in this very spot that I am right now. And yeah, so me and my
You're
husband have to
happy. You're thriving.
go other
Yeah.
routes if we want to,
Yeah.
but we'll see what
Yeah.
happens.
Yeah. Yeah. For sure.
But yeah.
So that reality or unscripted TV space, I know that sometimes it can catch people like not at their best when they're having a moment. But you are a person who is intentional about living your life with kindness and through kindness. So what's that balance like for you?
Yeah, I think those who watched last season 14 of the Real Housewives of Atlanta, you definitely see me. I do, like, I mostly do, like, yes, I have opinions and I give them within my friend
Hmm.
group, and of course, but I'm coming to a space I knew most of the
Yeah.
girls. Um, but still in the back of my head, I know reality TV. I know what they're gonna do. So I'm like, I'm trying to stay clear, but I'm like, okay, girl. But anyway, so you got me. You got the authentic me, and you're still gonna get the authentic me on this upcoming season. However, you're going to see a part of Mo that I don't expose to the
Mm.
world because, like I said, it's important to me to be an
Mhm.
example. Kids are watching, people who I help or who I coach, sometimes they're watching. Like, it's important to me to be me and just choose the right decision,
Yeah.
so no, you're gonna, and just like kindness, I just honestly, if I'm out and if they would have caught it and someone is really trying me and trying to take my kindness for weakness, you're gonna catch the other side. So let's just say this season the other side might come out. I don't know what they're gonna air,
Yeah. Yeah.
but I had a couple of moments, and honestly, I don't know how they're gonna edit it, but it is what it is. Like, it's still part of me. Like, I'm not gonna let nobody run over me. Like, this is definitely not who I
Yeah.
am. It's just very. I think about things before it happens. Just say sometimes you don't get time to think about things; you react.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, so but I think honestly, reality TV is a great tool, and it's a gift and a curse.
Mm.
So you have to choose and make sure it's what you want to do. And yeah, I think it's important for someone to see someone like me on a major show as well.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
that's part of my reasons for signing up in the friend capacity this other season as well. So
Okay.
yeah.
So I know that you're not a person who just as if it's a brand. Oh, she's nice, she's kind, right? And most people
Yes.
that I know and who know you, that's what they lead with about Monyetta. She's so nice. She's so
Oh,
nice.
thank
But you, not just in your personal life, but you make sure that you're giving back and that you're extending that kindness and grace in your philanthropic endeavors. Can you talk to me about some of those? Because this is the Lift and Shift podcast.
Lift and shift. Yes. Hopefully we lifted and
Yes,
shift.
a few
Okay.
people. Yes, yes.
Yes, I love that. Yes. So, oh gosh, it's giving back has always been a part of me. As long as I can remember. I grew up watching my parents give their
Mm,
last $20, $40
mm,
sometimes to members of the church or people in the neighborhood. It's just who we are as a
mm-hmm,
people. And so it's only, right that I would do the same. So, from being in middle school, going to like what do you call those, the nursing homes, and
mm,
singing and all this
mm,
stuff with my organizations, like just making sure someone smiles that day, like literally giving a compliment. And I see my son and my daughter do it
mm.
all the time. Just like, oh, just a random compliment. Oh, I like your hair. Oh, like it just, you change the trajectory of that person's
Yeah,
day or even life. You never
yeah.
know. So it doesn't have to be monetarily, but I do give back. I've been partnering with so many charities and organizations for years now. And with the loss of my brother to mental illness in 2018, I knew that it was definitely time to start my own.
Mm-hmm.
Life
Yeah.
happens, and, going through some things. And so I lost my uncle to cancer in 2020, and then lost my dear mom recently in July. So I'm like, okay, now's the time. So, and I'm honoring her. It's called Linda B's Grace Foundation. So with all the work that I did helping and I still will help others as well in their organizations as much as I can.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I decided to start my own finally, and it's truly,
Oh,
I'm making sure that everything is perfect, and I give to the right organizations. I'm still, of course, like, I built an orphanage in Africa with the organization Beyond the Game,
mm-hmm.
which Shanita Foster, in 2013, I think. We're gearing up for another mission trip where the kids get to go and
Okay.
experience this life changing. Oh my gosh. Me and
Yeah.
Carol, my good friend who
Yeah,
had on
yeah.
the other day, that trip was, we still talk about it to this day. To be able to give back and just see where your funds are going.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's another organization in Africa and Ethiopia
Mm-hmm.
that I have maybe like 15 kids that I've had for maybe 8 years that I support monthly. And hopefully after that, we'll get to go over and physically meet them. They write letters
Oh,
and it's just so heartfelt and so amazing. And the kids here in the U.S. that we give to back home, of course, we are able to be more tangible. I just want to multiply the amount of people that we
mm-hmm.
touch,
Mm-hmm.
um, and so with the transitioning of my now ancestors, I felt the push even more
Mm.
so. now's the time. So I'm excited about it and can't wait to get boots to the ground,
Yeah.
keep changing some lives.
I love it. Monyetta, I cannot thank you enough for just being so open and transparent, sharing your life journey. We are very proud of the work that you do. You're not just speaking about it, you're living it, you're being it. And, it's so important that we are just the hands and feet of Jesus. People
Yeah.
need to see us live it. And to whom much is given, much is required. The Lord, I know, has blessed you, and you are meeting that challenge so, so very well. So, but before we go, I want to know if there's what's coming up next for Monyetta that we can kind of look forward to seeing and supporting.
Yes. More. Actually, I'm in two films coming up. I'm filming one, I think, next month.
Okay.
The other one is it's a small role in Todd and Candy's movie The Past. I play the attorney with a little cute cameo,
Okay.
have to give them a little chops a little bit. I have more books coming out. The children's books, Mason's and Maddie's again. So I'm excited about that. And Mason's, so with his Nice Guy Meso, we came out with a soundtrack,
Right.
Nice Guy song, and he actually did a remix song that's coming out with Dougie
Oh,
Fresh, Insane, yes, his
oh,
dad,
I cannot
and
wait.
Donnie Arcade. So we're gonna shoot the video. So look out for that. It's gonna be amazing, and it's about just treating others with
Right.
kindness, and anti-bullying. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. And if you see someone doing something wrong, say something, do something. Change your life. But yeah, so I have a lot going on, and of course, tune in. They haven't released the exact date, but the trailer should be coming out soon of The Housewives of Atlanta season 15. You'll get to see me on there. Yeah, so looking forward to it.
Okay,
It's gonna
Mal,
be
keep
fun.
shifting higher and keep lifting others as you climb, and we will continue to be of great love and support to you. Thank you so very much.